Hi there guys, welcome to this unboxing of Blackstone Fortress. So ignore the glare, that will go when the cellophane is off. So the game came out about a week ago and I managed to get a chance to play it last Sunday, and I played it and I thought it was excellent. I loved it, I thought it was phenomenal. So first chance I could, I got a copy, and lucky me, I got a little Christmas bonus this year, so I managed to get it sooner rather than later. So let's have a look at what's in this box. Actually, before we open the box, it's not a very wide box, it's probably maybe 3 inches, something like that. It's very heavy, very heavy, which tells me there's lots of card stock in there. So let's have a look to see what we've got in here. It's well wrapped, which is good. It is some damage inside the box, but that's because it's had all these lovely sprues leaning on it. So the box itself is not bad. I think it will hold up well. Okay, so sprues. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 little ones, 2 big ones. So what I already know is that the red ones are the heroes of the game, and the grey ones are the enemies. And you see this one on its own is the big bad enemy. Maybe let's take a look back at the sprues in a minute while we check out the rest of the content. Okay, and true to form, I took the lid off, I sat it next to me, and my cat sat in it immediately. So a lovely card thing in there. I don't know what it's for, maybe it's something to play on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, something to play on. So that's cool, thank you, Games Workshop. Right, a whole bunch of bases, thank you. So all of the bases are the lined ones, so they slot in. Thank you. Cards, dice, sealed envelope, sample chapter, encounter deck, cards, big cards, initiative cards, some baggies, rules, boards, more baggies. Okay, so that's basically it. Let's have a look at all of these things individually. We'll get the dice out of the way because they take up a bit of space. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 standard white D6. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 standard black D6. We have 1 standard black D20. We have 2 modified D6s, in that they only have, one of them has 2 faces showing, one for crits and one for 1 wound, 4 blanks, and this one is the same. We have 2 D8s, which have let's make sure we do this right. We have 1, 2. 2 of the faces show crits, 2 of the faces show 1 wound, and the other 4 show blanks. So on both of them. And we've got some D12s. Okay, so what have we got on the D12s? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 crits. 1, 2. Hang on, am I reading that right? Right, 3 crits there. So that's 4 crits. 1, 2, 4 single damage, and 1, 2, 3, 4 blanks. So that's good. So these are your best dice for combat by far. Okay, here's the dice out of the way. We have got a sealed envelope, and in here the game is going to tell us when to open this. Most likely somewhere at least midway through the campaign. Now, I'm told, I believe, that within these envelopes there is potentially 7 different options. So there may be 7, sorry, not 7 different options, 7 different contents. So you get one with the game. I'm sure that if that's the case, more will be released in the way of expansions, and I'm sure that there's loads going on eBay and that kind of stuff. So there's that. What have we got? These cards, stronghold cards. Let's come back to those in a minute. So initiative cards. So what I know from obviously anyone who plays Warhammer will know about initiative. Initiative is basically turn order, and these initiative cards are, probably want to mess around with these, trying to open them. So we will have initiative cards for each of our characters in the game, of which we get 9. And then in the game, the where the enemies are on the various maps is set up by little tokens, and in those tokens they set what the hostile group is. So basically what will happen is 4 of these will get mixed in with however many hostile groups we've got. We'll shuffle that deck, we'll deal them face up, and when we turn them over from left to right, that is our initiative. So that is our kind of turn order. So that's what the initiative cards are. These are, look like item cards. Oh, good old Games Workshop. They've actually put what these are: resource stronghold artifact cards. So we will have a brief look at this. Okay, come on, right, okay, let's have a look. So without going through every single card, stronghold artifacts are things like that. That's a weapon. I don't want to spoil this too much for anyone. Resource cards, we get a whole bunch of them, loads of them. Are they all resource cards? Oh, these are all resource cards. So I will show one card to give an idea of what resource cards are. Mindlock Sigil, nice. Okay, let's have a look at a few more of these. Med Pack, Death. Right, okay, cool. So that's what those are. Come back to that again. Right, okay, cards. Now these cards are very good. These are the exploration cards, and in exploration in Blackstone Fortress, what they basically are is a way to set up the map that we're about to do battle on. So that's the combat cards. Challenge cards, which are things that we need to achieve. So I'll give this one as the example. This is the first one that comes out in here. In leader order, roll 4 activation dice for each explorer. Keep going until a roll for an explorer does not include a 6 on any of the dice. That explorer suffers 1 grievous wound. There's some effects there. And these are all challenge cards. Very good. Interesting. Now what I like about this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 different ways to set up the map for the game. I'm sure there'll be some skirmish options and that kind of thing that you can use to generate your own. Okay, what shall we look at next? Do you know what? I should have looked at the rules first, but to hell with it, we'll come back to that later on. So here we've got encounter cards. If I can open this, when I can open this, if I can open this, come on, I should have prepared better. I'm one of those people who's far too lazy to go and get a knife to do this kind of thing, so generally it starts with my teeth. Okay, so these are all encounter cards. They all have the same card art, which is lovely. Okay, so these encounter cards are what you're going to face on the maps. Just make sure that's the same for all of them. Yeah, so what you'll do is, as per our initiative, so if we had a map and hostile group 4 was drawn, when we went through this, the 4th one that we would draw might be Negavolt cultists, and this will tell us, oh sorry, I'm wrong. So basically, depending on how many enemies we've got in the game, we might draw one of these, and this will tell us where encounter group 1 or hostile group 1 would be traitor guardsmen, 2 traitor guardsmen. So this is fairly simple and straightforward. But a more difficult one or interesting one, these 2 are cultists. Number 3, loose cabling. Alright, okay, so it's telling you to do something different. So yeah, that's what these are. It's basically the enemy deck for what you're going to get in a specific scenario. We are almost done with all the cellophane stuff, cards and that. So these that we're going to look at next are like our character cards. Oh, I'm such a donut. I've just realised that my dehumidifier is running. I'm sorry about that, guys. What a noob. Right, okay. So these, we get one of these for each of our dudes. And basically we've got 4 spaces here. Those are 4 different dice which we'll roll at the beginning of the round and put them there, so that's the different turns we've got. As we take damage, we'll lose one of these, and then it's got the various different individual things about special rules, their secret agenda, and what their weapons do. So we've got those for all of our people. We also have the same cards which tell us about the abilities and effects of our enemies. So there we go. And Obsidious Malix is the toughest dude in the game with 12 wounds. So everyone's going to have to be on their game to beat him. So there's that. We've got one more deck of cards to open. Okay, so what have we got? It said on here that these are legacy cards, discovery cards, mortis and stronghold cards. So these, I believe these are legacy. Yep. So hang on, let's separate these out a little bit. So legacy cards are things that the game is going to ask you to add in to the gameplay. So it's basically going to make the game more difficult for you. So when the game tells you, when you get to a certain point, it will say, right, add a card, add a legacy card into your decks. So let's say we added this. Now available with the rest of our things is a countdown. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it's going to add some sort of effect to your gameplay. I believe they're all negative. So those are our legacy cards. Stronghold cards. Okay, so it's different people in our strongholds. So I'm assuming that this is going to draw one of these, maybe. I'm not sure. They haven't done a stronghold yet, and that's going to tell us what we're facing. I'm assuming that one. I'm not entirely sure. Discovery cards. Archaeotech. Right. Okay. So these are things. These are basically in the game when we're playing. There's some spaces that we can research. So basically, and it's basically the tokens where we have our enemies starting. We research those, and they may have, you know, some sort of benefit thing that you can find. It might be one of these, which is the game's currency. Let's have a look. So it might be clues. You need to collect 4 clues to go and do a stronghold, and some secret coordinates. Oh, so that's something you can use. I believe you can give it to one of your team members. They might need it to get a particular perk. The game I played the other day was that on these character cards, when you hit certain certain achievements, you turn this over to become inspired, like Shadespire, and it changes your abilities slightly. So there you go. Right, that is that. Now I'm going to show you these baggies, which I think are excellent. And what they are for is basically, they're for saving the game. So your character card with all of his items, any of his money, all of his tokens that you may have collected, when you finish playing, you just stick them in one of these baggies. And that saves the game for you. So that's what that is. So you get 4, 5, 6, 7. So you get one for each player. And you get an extra baggie here, which I'm assuming is for other gameplay elements to save your game. So that's that. So I think they're a great idea. That's really cool. Next, right, books. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 6 books in there. It's crazy. I like things such as wrapping your books and your heavy cardstock in cellophane. I don't know why, it just gives me that extra little bit of confidence that everything's going to be looked after before you start using it. Right, let's see what we've got. So we have the rules, and if we're lucky, this is all going to be set out with images and that kind of stuff. This is good. Setup, exploration rounds, the quest and special rules. This is good. Combat, so how we arrange our fighting. Again, so introduction to combat. Combat rules, battlefield creation. All this stuff looks good, and you will have seen in here that these things are used to A, check range, and B, check line of sight. So that's good. Line of sight is because we get characters who, when you look at their range, the range might be 4+, so that might be the entire length of the board as long as there is line of sight. Blackstone Fortress data sheets. So anyone who plays 40k or anything like that will know what data sheets are. And here you get one for each of your players. So what is this for? Maybe this is... Oh, excellent. Very good. Data sheets for use in games of Warhammer 40,000. So that's cool. Very cool. So you can bring these dudes onto your map for 40k. Brilliant. Ooh, Precipice. What's this? This is sequence of play, the next expedition. Oh, right. So Precipice, I think, is where you can go to spend your money and that kind of stuff, I believe. But this is more rules. Maybe gives us more information. So yeah, so Precipice, I believe, is the trading aspect of the game. So you finish your battles, you go back to Precipice, you can heal yourself, you can buy things if you get cards to do so. So this is good, interesting stuff. The Death Maze, I don't know what that is. I'm looking forward to... Oh right, these are strongholds, it looks like. Yes, they are. Descent stronghold. Okay, so this is all good stuff. 2 more things. Right, okay. Background. The story of Blackstone Fortress. So that's some lore and stuff, which is great. I look forward to reading that. Right. No glue required. This is going to help us to put our little dudes together, which is very cool. Excellent stuff. So I have to say that although I played the game, all I did was I did 1 round of combat and 1 round in Precipice to do some of the buying aspects of the game and that. Precipice, am I saying that right? I think so. Right, okay, finally, those are baggies, whoopie-doo. Finally, we're going to have a look at some cardstock. And there is quite a lot of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of cardstock. But this is big A3 size, so we're going to have plenty here to look at. And I'm glad we've got some baggies, because I don't know what I'd do with all of these different card decks. Anyway, let's get into this and have a look. So what I did notice from playing last week was that the cardstock is very good. I like it. It's good quality and it's quite thick as well. I'm having trouble here Why didn't I get a knife before I started doing this? Okay. Excuse me. Biting this. Okay. Right, lovely, lovely, lovely cardstock. So, we'll start this side up, because this is the starters. It's got our, oh, this comes out lovely. Right, it's got our map pieces. These parts here go at the edges of the map, and they're told where to put them, and that's basically for enemy reinforcements. So the enemy will roll a reinforcement dice, and if it manages to get the right results, they can call on reinforcements to help them in battle. So that's good, and it can be a real killer to the game as well. You know, you can think you're doing well and actually start doing pretty badly. So this cardstock all looks great. Very nice stuff here. Let's punch out some more of this stuff. Punches out great, as good as any game I've had recently. So this is good, and I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, but there was an opinion not too long ago that Games Workshop cardstock wasn't that great. But I'll tell you what, that's not true these days. This is cool. This is very good. So more and more matte pieces. Oh yes, of course, these are all double-sided as well. Very nice. I'm not going to show you all these matte pieces because I don't want to bore anyone. So more map, more map. Let's have a look at some tokens and stuff. So this is where we start Precipice. And what we're going to do is that each of your characters comes from a certain place. And what you'll do is when your 4 characters that you're playing with go to Precipice at the end of the combat round, or the exploration round I believe it's called, when you get there you will set up something like this, and that will tell you, it will give your characters that come from these various ships a slightly sweeter deal or something like that, be able to buy things for a little bit cheaper, and it will give you information on what you can actually buy on these different ships. So very cool indeed. So that is that, and the rest of it is just various tokens, and I will say that, oh, these ones are quite difficult to punch, I'll say, on this sheet. Maybe there's a minor problem, but look, so these are our combat areas that we use to decipher who's going where, and when you start, you deal these out like that, so you don't know where the enemy's going to be until you blind turn it over when it's ready. These tokens are for various abilities and that kind of thing for certain players. So that one is a protection one, I know that much. Yep, so I've got different stuff there. I don't know what some of these are for. These ones are for tracking damage, both for you and your enemies, and if you get really damaged, they turn over there. So okay, we've got the sample chapter for Blackstone Fortress next. Let's have a look to see what this is giving us in here. Right, okay. Some narrative stuff. A void ship cut through the night, painting artless, lazy spirals through a tide of shattered hulls. Ah. This is like a kind of narrative storybook. I don't know if we're going to be able to play this, but this, nice. I look forward to reading that. That's good. Okay, so the last thing to do is to check through, or have a brief look at some of our sprues. So like I say, red sprues for our characters that we play, grey ones for the enemies. So let's have a look. What have we got here? So there's our big mech dude. I don't know what his name is, but he's a bit of a beast. Let's go on his back. There's his big weapon. That's cool. We also have here our little dwarf dudes. They play as a pair. If Focus a bit better. So the detail on these, as you would expect, is really good, very good. Games Workshop have been working tirelessly, it seems, at getting the poses right and getting some of the finer detail stuff better than it ever was before, and they have achieved that because this stuff is looking pretty terrific. Very nice. Okay, so that's heroes. And then 2 large trays of enemies. Looking pretty beautiful. So that's what we've got here. There's some of our kind of goblin-y looking guys. Yeah, very nice. Okay, right. Okay, let's wrap up. So that, in a nutshell, is Blackstone Fortress, at least from a unboxing perspective. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you like the look of it, because if I didn't do it justice, this is a really great game, and I would urge everyone to at least have a look and try it out. So apologies again for the dehumidifier going and ruining the audio for the first half of the video. But if you will forgive me and you enjoyed the video, please give us a little like and a subscribe, and I shall catch you later. Ta-da!